Hello everyone, Erin here. I have a double-page scrapbook layout for you today. I was very inspired by this sketch design, but it only has spots for 6 photos and I have 12. So I'm going to show you how I will get all 12 onto the layout and make this sketch design work for me. I am going to create today's layout with the Toadstool Garden papers. These are 6x6 papers, and I'm going to pair them with these photos. Now, I got this idea from my friend Katie, who's here in the photo. These are all the creative design team ladies, and we were on a hike in Vancouver. So she had used this paper to document these photos over on her channel, and I love the way it turned out. But you can see the pinks and the greens, and we're on a little nature hike. I'm going to show you how I got all of these photos onto one 4x6 later in the video, so stay tuned for that. But I think this is going to be just perfect for the sketch that I've picked out today. So I am using the Creative Design Team's Volume 3 12x12 sketchbook, and this one focuses on using 6x6 pattern papers on a 12x12 layout. I have selected this sketch to get me started, and as you can see, there are, sorry about the glare, there are 6 portrait orientation 4x6 photos, and I have a lot more photos. I've got some landscape photos as well. So let's go ahead and clear this out of the way, and I'll grab my Versamats. I think I'm going to build this layout on white willow cardstock with all of the bright colors and some busy patterns. I think the white space on the background will lend itself well to the overall design. I went ahead and took that out of the plastic sleeve so we weren't battling the glare, but you can see there's 3 different papers, whether those are pattern papers or cardstock running all the way across. So it was really hard to narrow it down. There's tons of super cute papers in here, and I had a hard time deciding, and I still might switch it up, but for now I decided to go with these papers here. And what I'm thinking, so you can see you have the title here on the center. So I am thinking of putting this pattern paper up top, and then this wood grain, I love wood grain paper, in the center like this, and then this green one on the bottom. So here's my thoughts. You can see on here we have the title again, so we want that to be able to stand out, and it's more likely going to stand out on this paper rather than competing with a busy pattern. And then we have a large embellishment cluster right here, and I want to use, let me grab it here, the terrific toadstools. I'm envisioning like a cluster of these adorable mushrooms, and again, they're not going to stand out on this paper. They're just going to kind of compete with the background. So by putting this one on the bottom, I can do my little mushroom cluster, and then what that's going to do is complement all the colors in this paper, and they'll stand out on this one here. So that's kind of what I'm thinking, but I want to see these with my photos. So let's bring those in. You can see we've got stacked cardstock behind the photos, and I went ahead and cut those from, I honestly don't know what color this is because it's from my stash. It's a close to my heart color. It might be Pixie. I'm wanting to say Pixie, but I don't know. The colors in this particular mushroom Toadstool Garden paper pack, you could go with Melon Mambo. So yeah, Melon Mambo. You could even go with purples if you wanted to. There's fresh freesia in there. So you could bring out the purples, you can bring out the reds or the oranges, depending on your photos. So I've got this group photo. We came across this rainbow painted heart in the forest, which was such a fun find. And it's great because it's got all these colors in the paper pack there, and I just think that's really fun. I love this one here because it brings in the location Lynn Canyon Park, and I like to include those when possible. So that's a little travel tip for you. Take pictures of the signs when you're going somewhere. Not only will it help you remember the name of the place, but it's fun to include into your album. Nice little group shot that Jama took, a little selfie there. Here's one of us kind of hiking, and it shows the forest and kind of what the terrain was like. That one's actually going to fit under here in a flip flap. I've got my collage of smaller photos. These are just shy of 2x2. Again, I'll show you more on how I did that later in the video. This one is so cute. Katie and Jama hugging this giant redwood tree. I just love that one. And then I went across the bridge first, and I turned around and snapped this group shot of everybody on the bridge. So there's Janice and Chelsea, Julie, Andrea, Katie, and Jama. A lot of talent right there in that photo, right? If you're not watching all of their channels, you're missing out. So I just, again, wanted to bring this in and make sure I'm happy with my pattern paper selection, because I do have a few more options, but I am thinking that looks good. I like it. I'm going to go ahead and commit and cut these pieces down according to the sketch, which gives you all of the measurements. I went ahead and trimmed all of the pieces as the sketch suggested, except for this gray wood grain. I did leave that taller. So let's go ahead and just piece in all of these little paper sections. I want to get everything dry fit and make sure I'm happy with it before I commit to cutting it down. Plus, we need to put a dovetail in all of these pieces here. So I have the same, and what's great about this is you're just using bits and pieces of paper. So if you really don't have a lot of a particular pattern, you can stretch it with this design. I think I want to keep the wood grain paper larger like that, taller. And if you look at the sketch, you can see it's narrower there, and I have a much larger piece, but I'm going to keep that like that and make it my own. Let's go ahead and put a dovetail in here. So the wider the piece of paper, the harder it is to eyeball. So I have been practicing with this technique where you just gently fold it in half. You don't want to crease it, and then you can cut up from the corner and you'll get a nice symmetrical cut. It was super awkward for me at first, but I think I've got it figured out. So I'll just do a few of these on camera with you, and then I'll get the rest of them done off screen. This is a design technique you see me using a lot because it's super simple to do and it makes the layout more fun, more playful. And this was definitely a fun and playful adventure we were on. So that looks pretty good. I am going to ink up all of the edges with gray granite ink. Don't worry, I won't make you watch the whole process. We'll just do a little bit here. And I wanted to let you know that today is February 28th. If you're watching this on the day the video comes out, it's the last day of February, which means it's the last day of Stampin' Up's big annual celebration event. So this Toadstool Gardens paper collection I'm using is one of the free items you can earn with your qualifying order. So you can add this to your cart for free. There's some great alphabet dies and other stamp sets, lots of fun goodies. So I just wanted to remind you in case you have some fun crafting supplies sitting in your shopping cart and you just hadn't gotten around to it yet. So you definitely want to take advantage of the celebration event. There is a super cute Toadstool stamp set that goes along with this paper pack. The stamp set's not part of Celebration, it's just a regular item. And you can see that here, terrific toadstools. And I'm going to use this to create my ephemera. I've got pumpkin pie, granny apple green, melon mambo, and gray granite, all coordinating colors from this paper collection. And I've already mounted several of these images on blocks here. So let me bring in, this is just a pierce mat. It's like a foam pad, and it helps you get better impressions when you're stamping with your clear stamps. If you don't have a Versamat, you can flip over. So I've stamped a couple of the larger mushrooms in Melon Mambo. We want some of these little grassy knolls, so I'll stamp out several of these. I don't know exactly how many I'll need. I'm just going to do a bunch, and I can always come back and stamp some more. Let's use pumpkin pie for the smaller little mushroom here. There's several different mushrooms on this set, but these two coordinate with a punch. So I am going to use these. And then there's this little stem here, and we'll just kind of squeeze a few of those in. And then I'm going to use the punch to punch out some other stems. You can take the time to line up your stamped images using a stamping positioner so they coordinate with the punch shape and you get both punched out at once, but this was quick and easy. So we're just going to punch these shapes, and then I'll switch to the orange one here. It helps to have these on a little strip so you can just tuck them in, line them up, and give it a squeeze. Super quick and easy. So this is for the mushrooms, and there's a little stem. And then the others you'd have to hand trim with your scissors. So I've got some gray cardstock here, And we'll just punch out several of these stems. Stems are flying everywhere here. And then the little grassy knolls are super easy to fussy cut, but I'll just do this one here with you, and then I will fussy cut the rest of the stems off camera. So we'll just kind of go around this little guy, and I'm not leaving any of the white around the edge because the mushrooms don't have it either, so I'm making them all coordinate. I like to add a little bit of the coordinating ink around the edges of the mushroom just to kind of dress them up a little bit and make them look more dimensional. It's a small detail, but I think it looks really nice. My thought is to use one of these circle dies to create an embellishment cluster for the little mushrooms right here. These are the rounded all. They're wonky and super fun for layering, and I love them. And then we have my trusty Spotlight on Nature dies. So I do have this one already stamped. You can see I've stamped it with the elements of text in gray granite ink, and this was left over from another project, so I might as well use it. I think I want this just slightly under here. So let me get my fingernail under there. And yeah, the gray stamping, it's perfect with the gray paper. So we are going to go with it. And let's bring in all of our cute little mushrooms. So what I'm thinking is just housing these on this circle. And I think that text background is a fun little detail there that I hadn't even planned, but then saw this sitting in my leftover pile. So I want to create layers, and I'm going to have the stems and the mushrooms coming out from different layers. So this one will be kind of in the foreground, and then we can put this one coming out of the furthest little grassy knoll in the back there. So it really looks like a layered embellishment. For my title, I stamped out the word day from this stamp set called Documenting the Day. This is also part of Celebration, and it is awesome for scrapbookers because you can mix and match the title options. I did fussy cut this, but they are block letters and super easy to hand trim out. So I stamped those in Melon Mambo, and then I'm thinking maybe in black using, where is it here? A perfect day. So I've already used what a wonderful day and documenting the day on other layouts. So I'm thinking a perfect day, and let's see how that fits. I want it to fit right here in this space too. So that'll kind of dictate which ones I can use. And like this, oh, what a wonderful would hang off the edge there. I could always stamp it on a piece of paper and put it on the layouts, but I think I'm going to go with my original thought, one fine day. Or a perfect day. Now I don't know. Do we want one fine day or a perfect day? Let's go with a perfect day because it really was a perfect day. We had so much fun. So I'm just going to lay that there for now. And I'm wondering if I might want a strip of paper kind of connecting these two. I think it might look a little bit better if I connect this to the embellishment cluster. I actually had 2 of these paper packs, so I have a ton of strips and just scraps left over from making cards. So maybe one of these patterns here. I don't want like a pattern with, shapes on it. I'm thinking just something a little bit more neutral. We've got the little polka dots or the stripes. Let's try both. So these are each 6 inches long. This one is 1.5. I don't need all of that, so let's just tuck some underneath here, kind of under the circle, and then our title can sit kind of connected to that, and then it grounds it to the circle. But of course, I feel like now if I do that, I kind of need to run it all the way through. I wonder how this one will look. Let me trim this down. There's the dotted option, and I think I like the stripes better, so I will switch those back. Let me dovetail this one. I've recently been organizing my paper collection, so I knew I had some pink and green, floral type paper packs that I thought might go well with this. So I pulled these 2 off. This is like a little journaling sticker, and this one says, "This really happened," which I think is perfect because like we're all together, like it really happened. So I want to put a cluster down here. I have a lot more room where I could overlap the photo up here. and I want to kind of create 3 clusters. So we've got this big one, I want something down here and something up towards the top. So I could move my photos around. And also I was thinking about putting a flip flap here. And if you overlap things, you really can't add the flip flap easily. So I might need to move my flip flap to this 4x6 spot here. So we could layer some or these stickers like that. I don't mind if it overlaps the photo. In fact, I quite like that, but it would interfere with the flip flap. So let's bring in a little mushroom cluster here. So we have those repeated elsewhere, and that kind of brings all of these colors down. Let me scoot these guys over. Kind of a tight fit down here. So I think that that looks cute. And then I pulled some, I was looking through my travel stamps, and you can't go wrong with cameras. So I was thinking of the little camera, best trip ever, just creating some, travel themed ephemera. So I have a circle here. And again, I could put this up here, but I kind of want it over here more. Maybe we could overlap the photo like that. Let's stamp on this. I'm going to use my Memento black ink because I'm going to color this in with a marker. So let me grab my little camera here. Cameras, when in doubt, add a camera. They just always work when you're scrapbooking because it's photos and you need a camera to take photos, right? So let's stamp this. I'm practicing a few times on some scratch paper, and then we'll stamp this right in the center of our circle here. And I am going to color this in, I think, with a pink marker. So I have got the Stampin' Blends in Flamingo. This is the darker one. I'm using the bullet tip, and I'll just quickly add some color to this little camera. And when you get in those tiny spots, because these markers can bleed a little bit, you want to just add dots of color. Just touch the tip down, let it wick out, and that is the easiest way to get in those tiny areas. I think that looks pretty good. And there's another little sentiment on here that is like a little arrow that says destination. So I thought that might be fun. And let's put the camera back so we don't lose it. Grab this one. And I'm going to stamp this one in Granny Apple Green. So, and then we'll fussy cut this one out. So I've got a piece of paper here. Our destination was Lynn Canyon Park, and we were just anticipating a little walk through the woods, and it ended up being a pretty big hike with lots of ups and downs, but it was gorgeous. There was flowers and mushrooms and little ferns, really just a whimsical place. So we saw some banana slugs cruising around, and those are all in those tiny little shots in the collage photo with the 2x2 squares, and it was just a really, really fun day. So I'm thinking of maybe making a cluster right here, and it's not quite looking how I want it to look. Maybe if we tuck this slightly underneath that photo and arrange them like this. I don't know. I'm not really happy with it. I've also got these acrylic shapes. I'm trying to do a little stash busting here. These were from Close to My Heart, and there's a acrylic camera, and it actually matches the Melon Mambo day in the title over there. So let's, I cut myself a new circle without the camera on it. And then I want to use this. And this one says best trip ever. So I even stamped out an orange camera. I definitely do not like the orange. I was thinking because we have orange in the mushrooms, but the pink looks much better. I will type up my journaling, and since I'm going to be needing a flip flap for this one additional photo, I'll have the story on the inside, so I'll be able to type it up and just add it to the inside of that flip flap. But I wanted to show you how I created this collage using an app called Print to Size. Now I've showed this before, but I thought it'd be a good opportunity in case you missed the first video. And this is iPhone compatible only, but I'm in the app. I have it at a 4x6 canvas. I'm going to hit the plus button, and then we're going to go to collections. I've got my CDT girls trip, and I can pick the photos I want to use. So I've got this one here, the mushrooms, the banana slug, the ferns, the heart, and then this little flower. So that's 6 selected. Add them to the canvas. It's going to drop them all in. And now I just want to make them smaller. So I actually want them, I'm going to put them at 1.8 square so that I have room for the margin around the outside, because if they were all 2 inches, I wouldn't have any of the white border. So let me just make these all 1x8 really quick, or 1.8, sorry. Got the little heart here, and then you can move them around. Now there are apps out there that have templates that you can just drop the photos in. I like this app because I can make photos any size I want to on here. I could have some that are small, I could have one big long one in the middle, I could do all sorts of different things. So, okay. Now I just need to move them around, and if you accidentally, do something like, whoops, you can hit the undo button. It'll put it right back. So I actually I'm going to move these the way I had them. So this one goes over here, and undo. I accidentally am shrinking those. Move the flower there, and I'm just touching them to select it and then dragging them around. Now it does try to help you, and it will snap them into place. So sometimes I'll move one out of the way to keep it from snapping into place. It'll put up these blue lines and just put one kind of off kilter, and it makes it so it won't do that. And now you can see those margins look pretty good, and I can just print this. Now you can print it directly from here, which is what I do, or you can save it to your camera roll for later. So I added a little bit of bling using the purple adhesive back sequins. There's some pink tones in that collection, so I added those to my clusters there and down over on this corner as well. And I'm super happy that I was able to make this sketch work for me, even though I had over double the photos that the sketch was originally designed for. I have links for everything I used in today's layout in the description box below, along with a link to the Creative Design Team website where you can find our sketchbooks. Those are a digital download, so you can print them out or leave them on your device. And thanks for hanging out with me today. If you're looking for more inspiration, YouTube thinks you might like this video right here.